right, so in this video we're going to address two doctrines. The first is that Greeks and Romans are somehow Edomites, and second, we're going to address how architecture determines your nationality. First, we're going to address how Romans and Greeks are somehow Edomites. This is a camp doctrine. We're going to address this head on, starting at 1 Maccabees chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, "Then Judah," this is Judah Maccabees, "fought against the children of Esau, where? In Idumea at Arabatine." So, and also I want to address that this is the end or destruction prophecy coming to pass that we've always seen as it relates to Esau throughout the entire Bible, even since birth, right? But notice how this is in 1 Maccabees, the time of the Seleucid dynasty, aka the Greek captivity. Okay, so notice how Esau is aka Idumea, also at Arabatine. Arabatine is where we get the term Arab. I'm not saying Edomites are Arabs. The word Arab means mingled people. It's a multiple nationality term. It's a multinationality term. We have a second witness also in the book of Jubilee, chapter 20, starting at verse 12. Whether you subscribe to the book or not, I'm just supplying a second witness where you have Ishmaelites and the sons of Keturah mingling together. It directly expresses this. As we move on, we're going to jump down to verse 65, and it says, "Afterward went Judas," this is Judah Maccabee again, "forth with his brethren, which are Israelites, and fought against the children of Esau in the land toward the south," because we all know that Esau's land is south, bordering Israel, "where he smote Hebron." So Hebron is where we get the term Chevron, which is relating to oil, but that's another story. We see that this is again bordering the south portion of Israel. As we move forward, we're going to see in chapter 8 and verse 17 that we're now dealing with Romans. Pay attention. "In consideration of these things," and these things is how Rome had a reputation for just dominating in the conquest that they had. So Judah Maccabee chose Eupolemus, the son of John, the son of Achaz, and Jason, the son of Eleazar, and sent them to Rome. He didn't send them to Edom or the land of Esau, because that's in the opposite direction. That's south. Rome is north. Okay, that's the land of the north. To make a league of amity and confederacy with them. So notice how it distinguishes Esau that we've read in the same book from a Roman. If Romans are Edomites like the camp doctrine says, why doesn't it say Edom right here? Also, don't forget that this is in the Greek captivity. That's the period of time this is. So this is not as if it's prior back in the time of Samuels and Kings, where you have a merger that's not documented of Romans somehow morphing into Edomites, or however they magically became Edomites. We're at the time of the Maccabees, and there's a obvious and clear difference between a Roman and where they reside, and also Edom and where they reside. Also, there's a difference between the Romans, Edomites, and Greeks. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1, we've all seen this before, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim. Okay, Kittim has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Your Greeks live in a different land from your Romans, who are a different people from your Edomites. If a Greek is an Edomite, why doesn't it say the first over Edom? It would be a contradiction, just like the contradiction that we just saw in chapter 8, where it's dealing with Rome. Romans are Romans, Edomites were Edomites. You have to have your own doctrine in order to twist things around. Then I know there's a doctrine where Esau assumed names of other people that he conquered, if you will. I don't even want to say conquered. That Esau just assumed names of other people. Well, there's assuming a name, and then there's what you actually are. So if we see that there's a Roman prophecy or a Greek prophecy, you mean to tell me that the Most High was confused by this through his prophets and didn't know what name to put in these prophecies? You got to give a certain nation of people way too much credit in order to create. You're giving them way too much power in order to create these doctrines to suit your group. They make no sense. You basically have to say, because Esau, who's somehow magically white people, was so deceptive that he tricked the prophets and the Most High God to where when the Most High didn't know who he was having his prophets prophesy about. They didn't know if it's Edom, Romans, or Greeks, because Esau is so slick, who's somehow magically the so-called white man. That's way too much power you putting onto something. That's way too much doctrine that's going astray from the scriptures. Now I want to address the doctrine of architecture. So there's a doctrine going around. I've seen it, I've heard it, where somebody will show Petra in Edom. They'll show an image like this, and then they'll say, okay, now look at this Roman architecture, and then they'll use this as a basis to somehow justify that a Roman is an Edomite. Then they'll further it with going into the U.S. Capitol, and they'll show something similar to that. And then they'll come up with the doctrine. They'll solidify the doctrine that, oh, look, the building looked the same, so it's gotta be the same people. That's desperation, and that's a far reach, and I'm going to show you how. So we see right here, you see the same structure as it applies to Greeks. Okay, now I know that doesn't help, because somebody would say, man, Greeks was white people too. It's still the same thing, Edomites. Right, okay, well, as we keep going, because you haven't canceled out other nations who've used the same architecture. That's what makes this dumb, right? So as we go to Persia, you see something similar. Here it is again in Persia. It's similar. Now the last time that I checked, like Nipsey, Persians are not Europeans, and they for damn sure are not Edomites, right? As we keep going, we see the same thing in Babel, which is where this style originates, just like idolatrous religious doctrine. It all originated in Babel. That's the point. And the last time that I checked, like Nipsey, Babylonians are Kemetic. They are not Europeans or Yaphetic peoples. Here it is again, Babel. You see the same thing. It's not like only one bloodline of people use the same style of architecture. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This doctrine never canceled out other nationalities from as far as this architecture goes. And how the hell could architecture determine somebody's nationality when nations always borrow from other nations? It's ridiculous. But that's it for now, as it is written. Till next time, and I'm out.